back once again to Lukmaan IAS Academy, your favorite YouTube channel for all of your UPSC CSE needs. तो हम चलते हैं हमारे आज के पर्सपेक्टिव टक्कर टॉपिक की तरफ, जिसका नाम है इंडिया एंड न्यू यूरेशिया। जी हाँ दोस्तों, मेरे प्यारे भाइयों बहनों, अगर हम पर्सपेक्टिव टक्कर टॉपिक का हम अगर यहाँ पे लेकर चले, इंडिया एंड न्यू यूरेशिया, यूरोप प्लस एशिया, और उस पर हमने नाम डाल दिया है न्यू। खैर हमने नहीं डाला है, ये आर्टिकल हमें मिला है हमारे इंडियन एक्सप्रेस से। अब जिन्होंने ये आर्टिकल छापा है, अगर हम उनके पर्सपेक्टिव से बात करें तो क्या क्या चीजें हैं, आइए समझते हैं। ओके, सो व्हेन वी सी द डेट, अगर हम आज की डेट लेकर चलें भाई, ओके, दैट इज वी आर इन जनवरी 2023। द प्रीवियस ईयर, द पास्ट ईयर shooked the whole of the geopolitical world. जियोपॉलिटिक्स को हिला दिया था 2022 ने, जब मार्च के महीने के अंदर व्लादिमीर पुतिन की सरकार ने, यानी कि रशिया ने, यूक्रेन पर खुला हमला बोल दिया। राइट, एन ओपन अटैक बाय द रशिया ऑन द टेरिटरी ऑफ यूक्रेन। नाउ why it was something which actually shooked the entire geopolitical world? Because Ukraine is a country which is about to, which was about to join NATO in the very near future. राइट, यूक्रेन के ऊपर रिपोर्ट्स थे, न्यूज थी, इंफॉर्मेशन थी पूरी दुनिया को कि भाई यूक्रेन जो है वो नाटो, नॉर्थ अटलांटिक ट्रीटी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन को ज्वाइन करने जा रहा है, यानी कि अब उसका जो माई बाप हो जाएगा, उसका जो गॉडफादर हो जाएगा, एक पर्टिकुलर टर्म में हम बात करें, सो इट विल बी द यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स ऑफ अमेरिका। राइट, we very well know that how it is a big enmity between Russia and America. Russia and China on one side, America and its allies on other side. Let's take it the other European countries of England, France, and so on. Right. So we know it very clearly that Ukraine was someone who was approached by America, United States of America itself, to join NATO. Right. And in that very particular instance, Russia attacked Ukraine. So first of all, the question is, why did Russia attack Ukraine? सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है ना कि अचानक से पुतिन साहब ये कर क्या रहे हैं। 2014 में क्रीमिया, 8 साल बाद 2022 में यूक्रेन। Why? So point is, there is a very old saying that I want my good old days back. एक बहुत पुरानी कहावत है ना कि मुझे मेरे पुराने सुनहरे दिन वापस चाहिए। And Mr. Putin is working on the very same statement that Russia needs to strengthen itself with its older alliance in the name of USSR. So when USSR broke, and after the end of the Cold War, fall of the Berlin Wall and so on, right, we saw how the whole world order changed after the breakdown of the Soviet Union. किर्गिस्तान अलग होता है, तजाकिस्तान अलग होता है, क्रीमिया, यूक्रेन, रशिया, ये सब अलग अलग कंट्रीज, इंडिपेंडेंट कंट्रीज बन जाते हैं। उसी टाइम पीरियड के अंदर हम देखते हैं कि किस तरीके से तालिबान नाम का सरदर्द पूरी दुनिया को लग जाता है, जिसके लिए हमारे पास अभी तक कोई प्रॉपर पेन किलर हमें नहीं मिल पाया। राइट, अब तो खैर तालिबान अफगानिस्तान की एक लीगल सरकार भी बन चुका है। राइट, सो वॉचिंग आउट द होल सिनेरियोज हियर, व्हाट वी हैव टू डिस्कस। ओके, Russia wants to make up USSR 2.0. The Russians, they are eyeing towards USSR 2.0 so that the Russia becomes the world's most strongest country, because everyone knows that World War III is something which is not at a very far distance. World War III is something which is in the very near time to be taken place. We don't know when, but yes, it is not so a distant thing. Right, watching about the Chinese expansionism policy, we know it very well, the string of pearls, how the China has taken on the Pacific, the Indian Ocean, the Bay of Bengal, the whole of the Indo-Pacific region with its military and commercial ports throughout the countries present inside these oceans, in these blue waters. Okay, then apart from that, watching about North Korea's dangerous intentions, we have seen just the news yesterday. It is yesterday's news only that yes, North Korea's parliament has taken up the budget to enhance the defense products and to procure more of the arms and ammunitions. This is the very same country who far back in 6-7 years back claimed to have got the first ever hydrogen bomb test of this planet. That was the time when Mr. North Korean President Kim Jong, popularly Kim Jong, and the then US President Donald Trump, they were having the Twitter war with regard to the term of nuclear. When Donald Trump said, "I've got a very beautiful button on my desk," and when Kim Jong said, "I have got a very beautiful button on my desk," and then the reply came, the counter reply from the Washington DC White House from Donald Trump, that I have got much more beautiful button on my desk. Yes, they're talking about the nuclear button. Okay, so here we are in the world of danger. Here we are in the world of threat. The threat of World War III. The World War III, which will be fought with the weapon of mass destruction known as nuclear. The World War III, which might end up the existence of human race on this blue planet. Also somewhere the green planet, right? Okay, so coming to the point here. रशिया की कहानी और न्यू यूरेशिया की अलग दास्तान और उसमें इंडिया की पहुंच और उसमें इंडिया का रोल क्या होगा, यानी कि हमारा रोल क्या होगा, साफ शब्दों में हम बात करें. So what we are watching, the Indo-Pacific region for as of now. When the term comes Indo-Pacific, we know it very well. The credit goes to Japan. Erstwhile, this Indo-Pacific was known as Asia-Pacific, but we, once again, hats off to Indian diplomacy, Asia-Pacific, the name Asia-Pacific was changed to Indo-Pacific on our demand, on our petition, right, on India's petition. So it is now Indo-Pacific region. The Indo-Pacific region, which accounts for more than of the 2/3 of the world's global trade. Apart from that, it is also one of the most strategic point of the world, and apart from that, it is also home to the greatest economies, emerging economies of the world, right? So Indo-Pacific की जो theory है, इसका gift जाता है जापान को. Yes, one of the great political personalities ever this world has witnessed, the great and the late Shinzo Abe. June 2022, what we have witnessed, his assassination. The great personalities, they are often assassinated. That's where the fate of humanity stands. So, assassination of Shinzo Abe gave another light, but I'll call it the dark light to the geopolitics. Because with Shinzo Abe, didn't only change the Japanese politics, but also it was a big loss of economic principles as the world was moving towards the concept of Abenomics. Shinzo Abe's economics, Abenomics, who was working very wonderfully to provide good tariffs, trade, import and export throughout the global trade. Abenomics was something which the world was starting to admire and even starting to conceive even. But in that very same time, Shinzo Abe gave a bid adieu to the world. Then came the era, though not in that time, in that very previous, उसके पहले से ही जो है ये शुरू हो गया था in the former past itself. This was started that Fumio Kishida, the incumbent prime minister, who considered Shinzo Abe as his master, who considered Shinzo Abe as his guru. So Shinzo Abe के गद्दी छोड़ने के बाद और फूमियो साहब के गद्दी लेने के बाद हमने देखा कि आबे साहब की जो पॉलिटिक्स थी, जो पॉलिसीज थी, जो उनके प्रिंसिपल्स थे, उनको जापान ने हटाया बिल्कुल भी नहीं था. लेकिन फूमियो साहब ने एक नई चीज जरूर शुरू करी थी, और वो ये था कि साउथ कोरिया, जो अभी तक जापान के साथ आंख से आंख मिलाकर नहीं चलता था, बात नहीं करता था, अब कुशिदा साहब की सरकार ने सबसे पहला काम ये किया था कि लेट्स टेक अप South Korea in our bucket. And what the reports they tell us, what's the news it tells us, that Poland, being one of the key players of NATO, North Atlantic Treaty Organization, started purchasing weapons and arsenal from South Korea in support with Japan. right? So Fumio Kishida's government started a very wonderful and a new task, that is taking South Korea onto its side. And that was something which proved to be a fertile ground for Japan's geopolitical presence. Apart from that, what we can see here, the very next stage of the countries, the very next side of the countries, that is Russia. What Russia did, just a month before the attack, we can call it, Russia attacked Ukraine in the month of March. Mr. Putin visited Beijing in the month of February last year, just a month before. You know what it tells? A conspiracy, right? Exactly. Putin went to meet one-on-one personally to Xi Jinping. And there, the decision was taken that that is Mr. Putin, is going to attack the Ukraine, the country of Ukraine. And there, China said, no issues. I am at your end always. And what the world witnessed. When Russia attacked Ukraine and the whole NATO and the different agencies of the world, they started blaming and sanctioning Russia, China played another card of blaming NATO. China said, Mr. Xi Jinping said that it's not Russia who is responsible for destruction in Ukraine. It's NATO who is responsible for the destruction in Ukraine. It's not Russia, it's NATO. In fact, what Mr. Xi Jinping was actually trying to state, it's not NATO even. Shabd unhone ek standard word liya, covered word NATO. Mr. Xi Jinping actually wanted to say the name United States of America. It's America who is responsible, and nevertheless, the statement stands true as well. Why? Because the growing tensions between these superpowers of UNSC, that is Russia versus America, Russia and China versus America, actually compels or forces the Russian government to strengthen up its power, forces China to go ahead with its expansionist policy. And then comes the light of India and New Eurasia. So New Eurasia, that is what? New Eurasia is Russia in alliance with China. China in alliance with the Middle Eastern and Central Asian nations. Now, in that very new thing, China and Japan, those who are not so good in between them, but in that very same sense, Japan is having good cordial relations right now. They have started to have a good cordial relations with South Korea. South Korea in good cordial relations with Poland. So they are creating a new nexus, a new chain. Right? So let's take it once again. Russia always in good relations with China. China, who is establishing its good relations with the Middle Eastern nations, the Central Asia and the West Asia specifically. Apart from that, Japan going towards South Korea going towards Poland. So a new chain, a new nexus. In that meantime, what is the next in the list? A player who is a superpower, but not very active inside the realm of geopolitics. But once upon a time, this is the country which gave us the geopolitics itself, that is United Kingdom. Suddenly what we have seen in this very meantime, United Kingdom started taking some immediate and affirmative actions towards the alliance system and created in the very previous year AUKUS, Australia, United Kingdom and United States. The organization of AUKUS, that is AUKUS, was established. Suddenly, Australia was dragged inside the politics of Europe. Don't know why. Still, the answer is, unknown. The question is there, why Australia got immediately interested in creating AUKUS when already we are having Quad. It's there. India is there, US is there, Japan is there, Australia is there. So Quad is there. But suddenly, why Australia went towards Europe and created AUKUS, and that too with United States and United Kingdom? The question, this is the question that is unanswered yet. There are some assumptions that this might be the reason, that might be the reason, or Indo-Pacific might be the reason, but I personally don't feel the reasons to be very appropriate, or very near. So, apart from that, in that very new Eurasia, there is another child born 2 years back from here, 1.5 years back from here to be very specific. That is known as New Quad. The first week of August 2021, when the world witnessed that the United States of America called off its forces from the soil of Afghanistan and Taliban took new charge as the government there. Immediately after calling off the forces, the US diplomacy announced a new alliance known as the New Quad, with US being one of the players, Afghanistan being another player, and including Pakistan as well. So technically, the US forces left the soil of Afghanistan, but not the US government, but not the US diplomacy. So with the establishment of the New Quad, US actually maintained to continue its presence inside the territory of Afghanistan, considered as one of the gateways, Pakistan and Afghanistan, what we call it, as one of the gateways towards the Middle East. Right? That's why China eyes towards Pakistan and Afghanistan. That's why US too eyes towards Afghanistan and Pakistan. And that's why Russia has the very same logic towards these two nations, that is Pak and Afghanistan. Right? So coming into the light of New Eurasia, AUKUS is there. Guys, please make this thing very clear in your notes. AUKUS is there in this very Eurasian location. New Quad is there. Indo-Pacific Treaty is working here. The Quad of India, Japan, US and Australia is there. And apart from that, this very New Eurasia is telling us that why suddenly Poland is buying the weapon arsenal and so on from South Korea. South Korea, which has suddenly shown its tilt towards Japan. And there comes concern from us, India. Are we having good relations with Poland? Yes, we do have. Do we have good relations with South Korea? Yes, in fact, South Korea's biggest assembling facility is established in the Indian territory. Are we having good relations with Japan? Yes, we do walk hand in hand. Right? बोलते ना, हाथ में हाथ, कदम से कदम मिलाकर हम चलते हैं जापान के साथ. Not from this era, from the very beginning of geopolitics. India and Japan have seen wonderful relations. India-Russia, yes, no doubt, we need not explain, we need not further even discuss about how good and cordial relations both these nations have. Russia-China, yes, the very same thing, the very par level of relations as compared to India-Russia. Russia and China, they do possess the same. Okay, so talking about the Indian diplomacy and Indian geopolitical policies, Indian international relations policies, we need not to be very concerned with the new Eurasian alliances. Why? Because it's us who are, that is India, who is leading the way with regard to the present day India and Europe's relations. Okay, how? We know it very well that India assumed the G20 presidency. And just one simple reference I would like to quote here with regard to India and New Eurasia. While the war or the conflict started between Russia and Ukraine, we saw that over 5,000 and above students, that is citizens of the nation India, that is our citizens, they were residing inside the territory of Ukraine, as some of the students were there, some were there for service, some were there for business. So majority of them students itself, right? So they appealed to their government, that is the Indian government, that is we need to be evacuated. And the strength of the diplomacy, of the Indian diplomacy, was represented there in front of the whole globe when India urged Ukraine and Russia to stop the bombardment, to stop the bombing for a couple of hours so that they can evacuate, so that we, Indian government, can evacuate our citizens from the war-torn conflict zone of Ukraine. And what we have seen, for 72 hours, yes, you heard it correct. For 72 hours, the war saw a pause. The bombing saw a pause by both Russia as well as Ukraine. So coming to the point, into the conclusion, providing up the conclusive statement, India and the new Eurasia. India is showing its leadership strength and the new quality of diplomacy throughout the whole territories, throughout the whole globe, which tells us that yes, it's India 2.0. with regard to the international relations. And when it comes to New Eurasia, India has got good and cordial relations with Poland, South Korea, Japan, Russia. Yes, the relations are a bit bitter with China, not bit, but yes, absolutely bitter, sore and bitter with China. Nevertheless, we got Russia on our side, and Russia and China are good friends. So we can say India and New Eurasia, they are going to create up another hub, or you can call it a new hub of something which will actually create up an alliance that will compel the superpowers of the planet to give up the so-called arms race, the so-called trade war. That means we can walk towards the peace in a peaceful and a silent manner. Okay guys, so that's it with regard to the term of India and Eurasia. Okay, New Eurasia. So I hope you have learned a lot, enjoyed the session as well. Please do not forget to provide your valuable feedback into the comment box, as it's mandatory. And please do not even forget to share and subscribe the channel and share the video as much as possible, because your support is one of the most important things we need. Okay everyone, so thanks for watching, thanks for joining me in here in the session. See you all soon tomorrow morning sharp 10 AM in our DCA, that is Daily Current Affairs Analysis session. Till then, study well, take care, and yes, Jai Hind.
The first step towards achieving your dreams is having the right coach. Get the best education with Lukmaan IAS and make your UPSC dreams come true. Download the app now.